Good evening and welcome to the Dollar Dogs and Beer podcast. I'm your host, Andrew. Joining me tonight, we've got Joe. How you holding up, bud?
Holding up okay, man. Holding up okay.
At least your team managed to do some winning over the past week, and my team barely managed that. And that's why, as I said a couple weeks ago, I wore the Acuna jersey when he came back to celebrate him being back. And that's it for Braves gear this year. They haven't earned that.
Yeah.
It's been rough. So, Joe, what are you drinking tonight?
Well, I'm still trying to stay level-headed because last week I was obviously pretty far off the train, and just to quote the great Michael Corleone, just when I was about to be out, they pulled me back in. So, I'm still drinking the Pepsi Zero, trying to stay on the level.
Love it. I'm going to continue my run of sours until the end of the season from New Trail, the red, white, and blueberry sour. I had this one earlier this year. It's solid, though. New Trail, great brewery, and stays in theme of one of our topics tonight, which is the Little League World Series, because New Trail is brewed in South Williamsport. So, but more on that later. First up, the big story of the week, obviously, Cal Raleigh. Holy hell, man. This dude is putting on a season for the ages. It's gone from amazing to now record-breaking. He blasted his MLB-leading 48th and 49th homers yesterday against the Athletics. He has now set the single-season records for catchers, passing Salvador Perez's total with the Royals back in 21. All-time, your top four with a minimum of 50% games played at catcher, because you do have to specify that with catchers because they get rotated a lot. Cal is now number one at 49. Perez 48 in 2021. The great Johnny Bench 45 back in 1970, and Javi Lopez of Atlanta back in 2003 at 43. We have seen some great power hitting catchers over the years, but the fact that, given the minimum 50%, those are the top. I was very surprised Mike Piazza wasn't on that list. I think the years he did hit more than 40, he didn't have 50% at catcher. So that's his the reason for his exclusion from that list. This is Cal's ninth multi-home run game of the season. This passes Mickey Mantle's 8 that he had in 1961 with the Yankees for the most multi-home run games by a switch hitter. The overall record for multi-home run games in a season is 11, so he's trying to chase that one down. He's now at 104 RBIs. He is the first catcher with a consecutive 100-plus RBI seasons since Mike Piazza from 96 to 2000, and the first American League catcher to do this since Thurman Munson from 75 to 77. Damn.
It's great company to be in. My gosh, he's having a legendary year.
That is ridiculous company to be in. He is 7 home runs off the pace and 31 games left to tie Ken Griffey Jr.'s franchise record of 56. Do you think he's going to do it?
I would imagine he would get Griffey's record, yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty strong about that one as well. I mean, one every 4-ish games, with maybe another multi-home run game tied throughout there. I think I can definitely see him at least getting to 56. Let's roll that into some over-under or predictions. So he's on pace for 61. Are you going to take over-under on that one? Under? I'm taking under as well. He's slowed down a little bit in the second half. I mean, not to take anything away from what's been a ridiculous season, because that first half could be somebody's greatest season of all time. So no shame missing 61 here. Next one, Kyle Schwarber, Shohei Ohtani. They're both on pace for 55 plus. Who's going to win the home run crown, and how many are they going to hit?
What are they at now?
They are both at
48, 47.
Oh, crap. Close the tab. Give me a second. I know. I love tabs until you screw them up. Schwarber is at 45. And isn't that where Shohei's at? Or did Shohei hit another one that I missed? No, Shohei's also at 45. So they're both at 45, projected for 55.
I'll take Schwarber in that one,
And what's the
and I'm not sure if I'll say 56 just to be over that 55, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's right on there.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna lean one more for Schwarber for 57 because with Wheeler being out, I feel like he's gonna pick up that need to carry the team the rest of the way. So, and as we know, Kyle Schwarber in September is not a batter you ever want to face as a pitcher. He kills it.
No, no,
Uh,
not at all.
Hey, Mr. T, the awesome band director of Warwick High School. Let's go, Phils. Yeah, I know, Matt. We'll talk Braves more next year, but enjoy the rest of the season. You guys are having a great one, truly, as much as it pains me to admit it. Next one, Joe. Aaron Judge leads the majors with 7.3 WAR. What's his final total going to be?
You know what? I'm going to go 7. It's going to drop because he's going to get hurt.
Ooh, Joe's going 7 due to injury. Is going to drop. All right. I'm going to go over that. I'm going to go, but I'm not going to go much. I'm going to go like 7, 9 to 8 because I don't think he's going to play the field very much. So that's going to take a huge chunk of the value he gets because he is a generally plus defensive center fielder, except in Game 6 of the World Series last year. I'm sorry, did I say that? So I do think the lack of fielding is going to hurt him and slow him down somewhat. All right, next, Nick Kurtz ripping it up this season as a rookie. OPS currently is at 1.026. Is he going to be the rare rookie to end the season with an OPS over 1? And for the record, since World War II, we've only had 2 qualified rookies end over 1. That was Albert Pujols and Aaron Judge. So it's not common. Is he going to join that elite company?
You know what? Yeah, why not?
I agree. I think it's time. I think it's time. And the one thing I've noticed is his only weakness is lefties. Otherwise, he obliterates the ball. He's showing a great eye for the zone. He actually draws walks. I know, shocking as a rookie to draw walks and have a good feel for the strike zone. Let's do it. Why not?
Yeah, I would not be disappointed with that. And I mean, it's hard not to root for Big Amish. I mean, come on now.
Right? Right? How often do we have a Lancaster County kid make the majors? Not only make the majors, but tear the hell out of the majors. I'm fully invested in his season the rest of the way out. I mean, come on, you can't not love the guy. Let's do it, man. Come on, bring it home. All right, Tariq Skubal, he is on pace for 247 strikeouts. Is he going to hit it?
Yeah.
I think so too. I think he's going to hit like 255, 260.
Yeah, somewhere in that range sounds right to me.
Paul Skeens currently leads the majors with a 2.07 ERA. Is his final ERA going to be higher or lower?
Higher.
That's a good one. I agree. I think it's going to go. I don't think it's going to go up a lot, like 215, 220. But I think he's wearing down because he's never pitched this much in a season. But the Pirates aren't going to pull him or take it easy because I think they can sense he's going to be a strong candidate for Cy Young, and they're going to do everything they can since they can't win games for him by providing runs.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to do there's a chance that he does exactly what DeGrom and one or two others have done where they don't have the wins, but they have everything else.
Yeah. And I'm okay, and I really am okay with a pitcher winning Cy Young when it's based on those other metrics. Like wins is only one thing to look at. A truly excellent pitcher. I mean, if they're not getting runs, like let's go back 90s. Greg Maddux. You and I both enjoyed the fruits of his labor. If the Cubs and the Braves never put up run support for him, he wasn't winning 15 plus for how many consecutive seasons.
Right.
But he still would have been a Cy Young candidate because of how damn good of a pitcher he was. So, Yeah, I very much love that voters more and more are willing to look past just wins. All right, Joe, last one. Freddie Peralta, 15 wins right now. Is he going to be the first 20-game winner since Spencer Strider back in 2023?
Yeah.
I think so too, and I think the trend's going to continue. That we're not going to, we've had years where you had anywhere from 2 to 4 20-plus winners. I don't think you're going to see more than one, maybe two a season anymore, just with the way pitchers get pulled. And they don't really get the opportunity to pitch as many innings as they used to and all of that. So, but the way he's pitching, I feel like he's probably has, 6, 7 starts left. Even if Milwaukee dials him back towards the end of the year when they likely comfortably wrap the division up and the top seed, I still think he's going to get to that 20 benchmark.
Yeah, I think he's going to get
All
there.
right.
They have enough talent there to do that.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And and Matt said he just jinxed it. Let's take a quick live look at the Phillies score to see how badly Matt just jinxed the Phillies. Yeah, the Mets just tied it up 3-3 at the end of the fourth. Sorry to hear it, man. Because let's be real, there's one thing Braves fans and Phillies fans agree on, and that's we'll throw as many middle fingers at the Mets as we can. All right. The Little League World Series just ended. Chinese Taipei defeated Nevada 7-0. They won their first World Series title since 1996. I hadn't realized it'd been that long since Chinese Taipei had won one, so congratulations to them. Their starting pitcher, Lin Chin-sei, took a perfect game into the 5th inning, so it's real hard to score runs when the opposing pitcher's just throwing zeros down like that the whole game. So congratulations to them. In the consolation game, the Metro Division winner, which was Maryland, if I remember right, they beat the Caribbean 4-2. All right, moving it on into injury news. Jason was a little gutted by this news when it dropped this past weekend. Zach Wheeler is out for the rest of the season. He had to have thoracic outlet surgery. So that was, excuse me, it's the technical term is venous thoracic outlet syndrome. So essentially it's a condition where the subclavian vein, which carries blood from the arm to the heart, gets compressed in the thoracic outlet, which is the space between the collarbone and that first rib bone. That compression can lead to blood clots, causing swelling, pain, discoloration in the arm. It's less common than other forms of thoracic outlet syndrome, but the consequences, of course, can be serious, requiring prompt medical attention. My first question when he posted that, Joe, was, did they find more clots when they went in to take the initial clot out that was causing the trouble?
I mean, probably. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to plant, guess on anything. But yeah, it certainly is a bummer for sure for the Phillies. For any of his own Cy Young hopes, which I think were realistic.
Yeah.
It certainly is a letdown for any Philly fans and quasi Philly fans or Philly fans in the playoffs, whatever the case may be. It certainly is a loss for them.
Yeah, he was at 10-5, 271, 195 Ks and 149 and 2/3. WHIP under 1 at .935. 5.2 WAR so far this season. Yeah, he was definitely going to be in the conversation for Cy Young. I think, unfortunately, that does officially roll him out at this point. Anything could happen, but he's only made 20. Yeah, he only has 24 starts in the year. You really need to have 28 to 30 plus to be considered, I think, for the final award. So probably knocked out. So. The one thing with the thoracic outlet, pitchers that are pure overarm or pure 3/4, that's where you tend to see that injury the most. Remember, this is what Steven Strasburg had that ultimately ended his career. I wonder, are they going to try the procedure where they actually cut out some of the top of that rib to give to give that outlet more space to let improve blood flow. I know they're going to do blood thinners for a while. Potentially, he might potentially, after his playing career is over, be someone who's on blood thinners the rest of his life, just as a preventative measure because of that. We had heard, and Jason mentioned this in the group chat, that Wheeler had always said he was going to finish the contract up and might have even just retired after that. I get the sense he wants to go out on his terms. He doesn't want to try and force it back for so many years like Strasburg did with less and less success. It really sucks to see because he was having such a great season for the Phillies.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, as a Philly fan, I think there's a little more hope than given the rest of that rotation is still pretty solid. So,
yeah,
fortunately, you do still have that. There's a chance that they bring Painter up, for a spot start here and there, and that may at least give them an idea of what they have. And they may even just bring him up, next week when the rosters expand. So
I would think so. I mean, no reason to keep him down at this point.
yeah.
One thing the Phillies are really going to need moving forward, though, they're going to need Nola to start pitching like Nola again. And now that he's been out hurt most of the year, we won't have typical Aaron Nola getting tired rolling into September with not much left in the tank. We might actually get to see Aaron Nola pitch pretty well in September for a change. So I know the Phillies fans Jason in particular, would love to see that, not see Nola give up 6 runs in his first start back. Sorry, Jason, not to poke the knife in there at all. Joe, did I miss any other big injuries or injury news from the past week?
I don't think so, unless we really want to quickly just touch on the Cubs and this Kyle Tucker nonsense that came out last week.
Go ahead.
I mean, just briefly, I'm for fans of the show, I've kind of noted in the past that after sometime in the beginning of June, Tucker had jammed a finger, or we were told he jammed a finger, and he was okay for a little bit of June, and then you could kind of see a slide there for about 6 to 7 weeks here, closer to 8 weeks probably, where things just weren't quite right. And it got leaked out last week that he had happened to have had a hairline fracture in his hand, and was playing through it. Not really sure you should have done that. As a lefty hitter, it's his bottom hand, so it's his drive hand on a swing. So a lot of questions, at least in Cubs world, about now that the cat's out of the bag, what are we doing here? Tucker sat for a few days, and this weekend he looks, a little bit more like April, May Kyle Tucker, but we'll certainly see how that goes. But I think what's really frustrating when you follow some of these teams, and I don't think it's just because I'm a fan of them, but if the guy you find he has a fracture and clearly something's not right, I don't understand this. Well, he wanted to play, so I let him play. Until it just became obviously untenable. And I mean, for the better part of 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks at least, Tucker was grounding into outs all over the place, slamming his helmet down on the field. Like, you could tell that something was wrong. And I think it just seems a little, it's just bad policy to run things that way to me. Clearly he was hurting the club, and you basically coughed up the division because you didn't want to do the right thing. And I think that's the one thing that drives me crazy as a Cub fan. Like, they'll make the playoffs probably, and things will turn around, but you coughed up a division crown all because you didn't want to do the right thing.
Yeah, there's times when you need to have your medical staff, your trainers, and your manager say, look, I know you want to go, but it's June and we need you in September. So let's shut it down, rest it up, and let it actually heal the whole way.
I mean, just think about how much money I think not that it's all about money, but how much money Tucker lost for 7 weeks of shitty performance.
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
that could absolutely affect the future contract. We've seen it before.
yeah.
I did see two other injuries that came down. The Brewers did put Grant Anderson, one of their relievers, on the 15-day IL. He has tendonitis in his right ankle. That's retroactive back to Sunday. They recalled Easton McGee and Tobias Myers from AAA Nashville, and Chad Patrick got optioned down. Jackson Chourio is nearing his return. I got feelings about Jackson Chourio right now. I understand his frustration getting hit as many times as he did in that minor league rehab run, but boy, buddy, you can't get mad to the point that you chuck your bat and your helmet at the pitcher. I don't care how many times you got hit, how many times the same guy hit. And the thing that really got me, the one where he chucked the bat and got tossed, that was on an 0-2 count. The pitcher was just trying to jam him to strike him out. Like, nobody's going to go after you at 0-2. Sorry, bud. That's what's the logic of the pitcher going after you when they have you on the ropes at 0-2? Chill your jets. I understand being pissed off. He wants to get healthy. He wants to get back up. I understand all of that. He got hit a lot in that series. You got to keep control of yourself, and you absolutely cannot throw bats at players ever. So the other injury I just saw, Reed Garrett of the Mets, 15-day IL, right elbow inflammation. They are optimistic that he'll miss the minimum amount of time, and MRI showed no ligament damage. So for a Mets team that it feels like can't keep pitchers healthy this year, if you gave them a cheat code for it, hopefully for their run, it turns out to be a very minor injury, but we will see. All right, and then Jason needed some good news this weekend, Joe. After the Wheeler news, he definitely needed some good news. And initially, USA Today's Bob Nightingale had posted on Twitter that the Mets and the Phillies are going to play in Field of Dreams in 2026. Well, to quote Jason, like the Mets season, the Mets kind of disappeared on that one, and it's turned out that it will actually be Phillies and Twins next year in the Field of Dreams game. I don't know about you, Joe. I'm freaking excited. I don't really care who's playing in the game, but I'm really happy for Jason that it'll be the Phillies that are going to be in there.
Yeah, that's going to be a blast. I mean, it'll be fun to watch and fun for us to certainly talk about amongst ourselves, to be sure. And we always talk about how they get these games right, so I can't wait to see what they do with this rendition of it.
It's I do feel for Jason's bank account next year though, because let's see, they've got the All-Star game in Philly, so he's probably going to go to at least the Derby. All-Star game merch, Field of Dreams merch. FIFA World Cup's going to be in Philly next year. Oh man. Guess Jason better start bowling a little bit better when he goes out for those PBA events. Although, to be fair, Jason did better than you or I could ever do on our very best day of bowling, without a doubt. So, and did very well as a rookie bowler doing a PBA as non-affiliated. So, props to Jason for that. But at the same time, bud, we got to give you a little crap. All right, so then Rob Manfred, because Rob Manfred can never keep his mouth shut at any point in his illustrious career as the commissioner of baseball. He noted that with potential expansion, that they would, and realignment, that they would do it geographically instead of keeping the traditional American League, National League lineups that we have right now. So first of all, is Manfred actually right? Is it time to scrap the old American League, National League, and go to something that makes more sense geographically?
No, I, I, I don't really, I don't necessarily get this one. Um, I mean, I can understand maybe reshaping the divisions a little bit depending on what you add. Um, to make it a little more balanced or whatever the word is. But I think I don't know. It just seems to me like this is he floats these ideas, and sometimes they're not bad when they get fully executed, but they're really bad at the start. These projected divisions came out, I think, last week,
Yeah,
and I was sitting there with a guy who's a Guardians fan, and I'm like, Great Lakes. This he goes, and where's Cleveland? I'm like, they're in this one. He goes, they're literally on a Great Lake. And they weren't in the Great Lake division. So, like, if
make
we're
it.
gonna do this, like, if you're gonna name something like that, make sure you do it right. Um,
So
I,
here's
I
one. Yeah, go ahead, finish up.
no, go ahead.
So here's one that I saw that just went purely geographical for everything. The new AL West would be Seattle, Vegas, an expansion team in Oakland, and the Angels. The NL West would be the Giants, the Dodgers, the Padres, the Diamondbacks. Because it'll go to it'll go to 4-team divisions, which I've long said four divisions, 4 teams in each division, and 4 divisions per league make the most sense to get to 32 teams, where you can actually have a fair, balanced schedule, not the stupid cluster that we have right now. Then you had the AL South, which was going to be the Rockies, the Royals, the Rangers, and the Astros. The NL South, which would be an expansion team in the Carolinas, Atlanta, Tampa Bay, Miami. Then you had the AL North, which was the Guardians, the Tigers, the White Sox, the Reds. The NL North, the Twins, the Brewers, the Cubs, and the Cardinals. I mean, at least they kept the Cubs and Cardinals together. That would have been criminal to rip that apart. Then you have the AL East, which would be Toronto, Boston, New York, Baltimore. The NL East, which would be Philly, Pittsburgh, New York Mets, Washington Nationals.
I don't know. We'll see. Like, to me, I mean, as far as in the West, I think the team place that makes the most sense for a ball club is probably Portland, given that they had one there years and years ago in the independent
Mm-hmm.
level. Um, like that would make a ton of sense. Um, to sort of beef up that area of the country.
So
Um,
yeah, because Seattle could definitely use a more geographical rival. I've thought that for a long time. And let's be real, there aren't enough people in all of Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho together to support a single major league team. So you have to stay in Washington, Oregon area to find a close geographic rival for the Mariners.
yeah, that to me would make the most sense if you're doing that. As far as the NL there, I mean, the Carolinas is about as close as you can get to Atlanta without causing a whole bunch of chaos.
See,
I feel like there's got to be a better spot somewhere.
I don't think Carolina's the spot to put it because Carolina is all Atlanta or all Washington, Baltimore, or even some of Cincinnati as well pokes down that way. I think if you want to put another team kind of in the South, I think you go to New Orleans, which we know can support support another major league franchise. Or and I'm gonna go real crazy here, Joe. How about Mexico City? I mean, I know you're going to deal with altitude just like you deal with at Coors Field, but Uh, why not? Why not expand into Mexico? We've looked at it before. We've had teams go down and play games down there before. If you build a dedicated Major League Baseball stadium and don't try to use a soccer field for a baseball stadium right after a soccer game, and then discover it's too torn up and have to move the game back to the states, uh, just a thought there, MLB. I feel like Mexico City would be a great place to put an expansion team. I know they looked at San Juan, Puerto Rico, way back before the Expos moved to Washington. Uh, as much as I like the idea of a Puerto Rican team, I feel like weather is going to be way too much of an issue. And I'll grant you, it's going to be an issue in New Orleans too. But I feel like weather is going to be a much larger issue on Puerto Rico than it would be in New Orleans, which is why my pick would be like New Orleans and Mexico City versus North Carolina. Now, I appreciate this graphic sends a team back to Oakland, and they actually have it marked as the A's. I would be very curious if they could convince the current athletics, what should I call it, the Czararchy instead of the hierarchy, to give up the athletic name and records, because I kind of do think that should stay at Oakland. But at the same time, you could make the very valid argument that the Athletics have literally traveled more than any other franchise in history. So
Right.
what's one
Right.
stop? So
Yeah.
there's a lot of really interesting options. I mean, we saw fans will go to Tennessee to see a Major League Baseball game when the Braves and Reds played at Bristol. And Tennessee
Yeah.
does have big cities, but all of their big cities already have very good minor league teams.
Yeah, you have the Sounds in Nashville, and that's AAA Milwaukee,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have in Knoxville, you've got the Smokies, which is the AA Cubs. So to me, it feels like Tennessee would be hard to pull off.
Yeah.
Um, Kentucky would infringe on the Cincinnati stuff, so you'd almost have to go somewhere in the middle somewhere, or maybe Mexico City makes sense. Maybe I don't know somewhere.
I mean, you're going to have to think outside the box because
Anywhere but New Orleans or Puerto Rico. I think they'll find a way to make it work.
yeah. I mean, even Salt Lake City would make more sense than going back to, as much as Oakland deserves a franchise, but it would almost make sense to put a new team in Salt Lake City versus going back to Oakland, because without a new stadium deal, I mean, Oakland's dead. Oakland has to have a new stadium.
Yeah, I think that's a fair thought, and Salt Lake City would help grow that part of the country where there's a you have the Rockies and then you have the Mariners, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Um, so it would kind of spice that up a little bit, so it could be a good option.
Mm-hmm. Even well, no, not with the A's moving to Vegas. I was about to say you could look at like Northern Nevada, but I really don't think the A's ownership in that one, they would be fair to say no to a new franchise in Northern Nevada, because they want the state to themselves for right now to grow the new brand.
Right.
Um, yeah, I mean, New Mexico, maybe Albuquerque. You'd have to deal with the Rangers and the Diamondbacks and the Rockies all saying and that's going to be the problem. You're going to deal with territory infringement almost everywhere. So it's going to come down to which franchise do we think we can step on their toes, and they're going to make the least amount of outcry, which is probably why they predicted the Carolinas, because let's face it, MLB does not give two craps whatsoever about what they do to Atlanta. They've showed that many, many times over the years. Do you think they might even go back to Montreal?
I mean, I wouldn't be disappointed with that. I think that's a good idea. Why not? The same argument we can make for Mexico City. You make the same argument for Montreal. Like, why not grow the sport back up in Canada,
Yeah.
and sort of expand that way? It would allow for another team outside of Boston from Massachusetts up.
Yeah.
So it could grow the game that way a little bit.
And
I would be opposed to something like that.
I wouldn't mind seeing Montreal and New Orleans and making it the Battle of the Fleur de Lis because of the connected French ancestry in the two areas. That would actually be really cool to see, and you can make some gorgeous uniforms too. Just saying. So yeah, I any other like the problem is the big open areas of the country where there's no teams around just don't have enough people to support teams. Like I said, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming are collectively tiny. That's why, like, let's look at presidential years. The candidates don't go out there very much because there's not a lot of electoral votes because there's not a lot of people out there. It's kind of the same idea. Maybe the Dakotas aren't super heavily populated. Nebraska's got more corn than people. I think Iowa's content to be a Field of Dreams state only when it comes to Major League Baseball. And honestly, why not when you knock it out of the ballpark like that? Maybe Oklahoma.
Yeah, I could see that if you're trying to expand somewhere into the middle.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Oklahoma City or Tulsa or something like that.
Yeah, because
Um,
they
I,
have enough big metro areas. I think you could. I think you could get away with a nice stadium there, and that wouldn't be. I think that wouldn't be horribly infringing on the Ranger and Royal Territory areas. You know.
yeah, that would probably be the safest spot in the middle somewhere.
Yeah. So that's kind of what it's looking like right now. I actually think it looked. Is that Orioles? Okay, yeah, that is the Orioles. I was just making sure I was reading this map right because they ramrodded the map into the tiniest little corner of the screen that they could, and it's very hard to read sometimes, just to make sure they didn't omit something that need not be omitted. I do think
Yeah, I will.
I go ahead.
I will say this: if they go to four divisions, I hope we can kind of, I hope they don't change the playoff format anymore.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think if you go to four divisions, we don't need a third wild card anymore.
agreed.
So,
Go down to
I,
two.
I think I think even having the third wild card now, I feel like it's diluted the product a little bit. Um,
Agreed.
and I think, I mean, people said that about the second wild card back when it was added. Um,
I was one of
and
those people.
but this third wild card is a little ridiculous to me. But I mean, one other idea I saw floated was to do like they do with like the Atlantic League, where you have a first half and a second half champion in your league instead
I
of doing divisions.
I like that at a minor league level. I don't like that at a major league level personally.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't either, but I saw it, so I thought it
yeah,
was worth at
it's not
least bringing up.
it's not a bad idea per se. I just Major League Baseball's always been about the marathon, right? It's always been about who comes out at the end of the longest season in North American professional sports by far. So I feel like if you do that, you honestly you almost nerf the division leaders even more. And at some point, just make it a big lump pool and pick the top teams and seed them based on records, and just get rid of divisions altogether. But I don't want to see that. Please, for the love of God, Rob, don't watch the podcast and say, "Oh, that's a great idea." No, that's a horrible idea. Don't listen to that idea. Do not listen to the intrusive voices in your head that might make you think that that's a good idea, because it's not.
Yeah, I think if you get to four divisions, then four division winners, two wild cards, and we can kind of not change anything else.
Yeah,
I think that would be fine.
and remember, at that point, you've got 32 teams, so you're only seeing 18.75% of the teams make the playoffs.
Well,
Excuse
and
me,
the other
12
thing,
into 32 would be 37 and a half, but that's 18 and a half per league, which is,
right,
I think, more in line to where it should be.
right, and I think the other thing too that would do though is like if you go to four team divisions, then you have 13 more games to spread out among rivalries if they're not in your division anymore. So if Milwaukee were not in the Cubs division, you could spend 7 games on Milwaukee, spend another 6 on, Philly or the Mets or whatever. Like, you can expand some of, those 13 games that aren't taken up by another division team.
Exactly. Well, think about it like this: we've got 162 games, so you could do let's say 12 games against each of your division teams. So that's 36 games down, which isn't enough. I will freely acknowledge it should be more like 15 to 18, but we'll go with 12. That gives you 126 games to play with. 126 games to play with, and you have 12 other teams in your league.
Yeah.
You could it just makes it easier to create a more balanced schedule with 32 teams than it does with 30. I've been at, years and years ago, Joe, me and my brother Alex decided to get drunk one night because that's what brothers do. And we were talking about how could you fix baseball schedule. This was years before Manfred screwed it up to where it is now. And that was that, we had talked about, you need to expand to 32. You might need to move a couple teams between the AL and the NL, just to make things work better. And if I remember right from those conversations, I know I have the file saved somewhere, but I couldn't find it before tonight. I think the two teams we had picked were New Orleans and Mexico City to get to 32. And then I think we only had to do some very slight tweaking of the divisions to fit it in. Like I think we might have made a South division as well. I forget how we broke it up. I'll have to find that and share it with you because it was considering how much whiskey the two of us had at that point in the night, the fact that we came up with a decently cohesive plan was honestly kind of impressive. So, but it's a fun mental exercise to figure out where you put teams, who can you piss off the least by putting a new team here. There so many things go into it, and it does seem like that's going to be Manfred's last big push for his legacy before he retires for good, is to expand to 32, realign, and be done with it. So we'll see where it goes, because this could go anywhere from not bad to absolutely batshit crazy in the turn of an eye. So I guess we'll see. All right, let's go with some Down on the Farm. Let me pull him up here. Let's stay in. We did the International League a bunch lately. Let's do the Eastern League. We're all fans of the Eastern League here since it's local to us. All right. Yeah, okay, that's neat. That's a very easy pick this week for our hitter. So, hitter for this week is going to be Charlie Condon from the Hartford Yard Goats, the AA affiliate of the Rockies. Last week, he's an outfielder. In 6 games, he had 19 at-bats, /368, 500, 1.105. He had 6 runs, 7 hits, no doubles, a triple, 4 home runs, 8 RBIs, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, and a stolen base. That's not too shabby.
That's not too shabby. I mean, I say this all the time amongst us, but I love minor league team names.
Right? It's literally just the best. You cannot beat it. Perfect. We're going to go with a Harrisburg Senators pitcher this week. Jarlin Susana. He had 2 starts last week. He went 1-0 through 10 innings, allowed 2 earned runs, 4 hits, 1 home run, 1 hit batsman. He walked 5. He had an ERA of 1.8. He had a whip of 0.9, an average against of 0.118. You ready for this strikeout number? 23 in 10 innings.
That's pretty special. I'm not gonna lie. He was the pitcher for Harrisburg when I was at that Reading game earlier this year.
Oh, nice! I didn't get to see him.
He was really good.
I would say so. I mean, with numbers like that, that's scary good. And I noticed when I was looking at the league stats while I was at the Senators game earlier this year, just a couple weeks ago, Harrisburg's not a great strikeout club this year from their pitching staff. So to see a guy do that, holy crap, that's crazy good, man. He's one of is he in Washington's top 30 yet? I wonder. Let me take. I'm going to take a look because I'm genuinely curious. Because if he's not yet, he really should be. Yeah, he's had a good year in the minors so far. All right, let me see. Jarlin Susanna. Come on, computer. The ever scrappy Nationals. Let's see here. He is. Well, the top 30 doesn't want to load right now. Well, Joe, I'll work on pulling up the top 30. Oh, no, here we go. Sorry. There's the 40. He's not yet. I have a feeling he's going to be on their top 30 next year, though.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably a safe bet.
Yeah, he was probably like number 31, 32 kind of thing because pitching like that, buddy, you absolutely have earned the right to be on that top 30. You are having a fantastic year so far. All right, so let's move it on to the hot list. Joe, before we jump into that, you had one player you wanted to highlight. You want to talk about him?
Yeah. So, Cade Horton, rookie for the Cubs. Um, he has just on like FanDuel and stuff like that, just become the odds-on favorite for NL Rookie of the Year. Um, Drake Baldwin is a close second, I think. Um,
God.
but here is Cade's numbers here since the All Star break. He's made 7 starts, 37 innings. His ERA is a .49. His WHIP is .78, and he's got a right around 25% strikeout rate and an 8% walk rate.
Holy crap, that's awesome.
The guy has been great all year, but he's been really significantly better since the All Star break.
Yeah, that's awesome. Joe, I got the rankings to refresh. He's number 3. Susanna's number 3. So, and he is. They are projecting that he will break the MLB roster at some point next year. Based on those stat lines and your in-person scouting report earlier this year, that sounds about right. All right, my top hitter for this week, Joe. I am going to go with Bobby Witt. In 29 at bats last week, he slashed 414, 469, 690, 8 runs, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 12 hits, 2 doubles, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. Not too bad. Who's your pick?
Well, I'm going to give you 2. We have Jeff McNeil from the Mets, who went 353, 450, 1,000 slug. 5 runs on 6 hits, 2 doubles, 3 homers, 9 RBIs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. And Vinny Pasquantino from the Royals, 400, 464, 1080 on the slug. 6 runs, 10 hits, 2 doubles, 5 homers, 10 RBIs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts.
I almost picked Pasquantino. He had a great week.
Sure did.
All right. Who is your Moneyball hitter this week?
You know what? This is one of those things where it just feels like there has to be 2. Because I've got I'm splitting hairs with some of these guys. So I'm going to give you 2 of them. We've got Bo Bichette from the Blue Jays. His slash line this week was 500, 565 on base, 650 slug, 6 runs on 10 hits, 3 doubles, an RBI, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts.
Okay.
And then Cedric Mullins from the Mets, 444, 545 on base, 611 slug, Uh, 2 runs on 8 hits, one double, one triple, two RBIs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, and 3 stolen bases.
That's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Another guy you could have considered too. Well, no, he had too many strikeouts versus walks. Never mind. I was going to say Trey Turner because he had nice stolen numbers, but he had went 1 to 5 on walks and strikeouts. So forget that. He did have a good week though, despite it. All right. Let's see. Let's roll into the pitchers. Always the more fun part of the night for me because I always love the pitchers more than the hitters. All right. First, I'm going to give Jason a little love here. Ranger Suarez in his 2 starts last week, 13 2/3. He went 2-0. He allowed 2 earned runs, 7 hits, no walks, 1 home run. He struck out 21 with an ERA of 1.32 and a WHIP of 0.51. That's a little scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then I think I'm going to. Should I go there? Yeah, why not? I'll go there. I'll go with a guy who didn't pitch quite as many innings, but had a nevertheless impressive week. Freddie Peralta in his 2 starts, he went 1-0, 11 innings, 12 strikeouts, 3 hits, 7 walks. So he had an ERA of 0 and a WHIP of 0.91. Well, like I say, there were a lot of great pitching performances this past week. Who's your top pitcher?
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Jesus Luzardo. 1-0 in his 1 start last week. 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run on a homer. No walks, 12 strikeouts, a .50 WHIP, a 143 batting average against. Another one I considered was Merrill Kelly from the Rangers. 1-0 in 2 starts, 13 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs on 2 homers, 2 walks, 11 strikeouts, a .62 WHIP, a 136 batting average against.
Yeah, those are great numbers. I'm not going to feature Hurston Waldrep this week, but he has been ever since Murphy took him aside during a rehab start last year and said, you need to learn how to throw a sinker. I think he could do it really well. And then got rid of the really high leg kick and has really learned how to control the strike zone. It's night and day. I mean, last year I was ready to trade the guy away for black and catfish, and this year he's looking like he's going to be a solid contributor to the rotation going forward. So I'll get into him more maybe next week. I think he's got a 2-start week this week, so I'll see if he can maybe stem the bleeding the Braves have continued to suffer throughout this entire season. It is nice to have something nice to talk about. So, Joe, who is the adulting reliever of the week?
I'm going to go with John Schreiber from the Kansas City Royals. 4 appearances this week, 1-0 winning record, and a 1-for-1 save opportunities. So a mixed bag of performances for him as far as his role and factoring in on the win. 3 1/3 innings, no hits, no runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, a .30 WHIP, and of course zeros on the batting side.
That's fantastic. Well, for top team this week, we definitely can't go the Brewers. They've finally come back down to earth. I'll let you take the Cubbies, but I'm going to highlight the Tigers. 8-2 in their last 10. They know they're in a weak division, and they know what job they need to get done to push into the playoffs. And they are full steam ahead right now, looking great, up to a +98 run differential right now. Still have fantastic pitching. And, you and I pointed out they didn't do a ton at the deadline because they didn't need to. They already had a great team, and they are starting to really just shove that down their opponent's throat. So my hot team is the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, I'm actually going to highlight 3 other ones. The Rangers have won 3 straight. The Pirates have won 4 straight. And the Phillies just continuing to hold serve in that division. It's just unreal.
Yeah. Well, the Mets are going to Met. They do it almost every year.
And this is going to be one of those season-defining series here the next few days. So
yeah,
for them.
And you mentioned you mentioned the Pirates. One of those wins was a Paul Skeens win, and the big thing behind this 4-game streak, they swept the Rockies. Remember how we were talking about where are they going to pick up wins, and we thought that was a series that it was possible, but it looks like it. Looks like the Rockies are going to be fighting for wins even harder. I mean, since last week. Since we were on last week, they did split with the Dodgers, which I was genuinely shocked by, including beating Kershaw. But then, they're on a 4-game losing streak since dropping all 3 to the Pirates. They are off tonight, and they're on the road to Houston before coming home to welcome in the Cubs and the Giants after that. So the Rockies count. They are currently at 37 wins for the season. So in the race to is the season over yet, the Rockies are at 37. Do you still think they're going to end up worse than the White Sox?
I don't know, man. I part of me just wants to stay with it just because it would be nice to unseat the White Sox in that category.
Well, plus it's so hard to predict bad teams because bad teams can still go on winning streaks. No matter how bad they are, they always have the ability to do it, even if they haven't shown the slightest glimmer of figuring that out all year up to that point.
Yeah, and I don't want to count too many things out because, I don't know what Cub team is going to make the trip there.
That's fair.
They had the sweep of the Angels this weekend, but they have a night off today, and then 3 against the Giants, and then Colorado in Colorado. So it's anybody's guess as to how this next 6 days is going to go until they find out what's going on with Tyone too, because he might be hurt again.
Yeah, so that'd be a pity. He has been pretty good this year, honestly.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else from you this week, Joe?
Nope.
All right, let's roll it, guys. Audio recordings are available on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, anywhere you find podcasts. We're live on YouTube as well as Facebook. Merchandise is at redbubble.com/people/DDAB-podcast. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/dollardogsandbeer. We're presented by Dark Arrow Podcast LLC and sponsored by Baron Barbershop over in Manheim. Guys, may your dogs always cost $1. May your beer always be cold. We'll see you next week.